How can one choice, one battle, one single moment in time shatter a universe? It sounds like something out of science fiction, a paradox waiting to happen. But for Hyrule, it's just history. For decades, fans tried to connect the dots and draw a single straight line through the epic saga of The Legend of Zelda. But the official history, it's far stranger, way more complex, and honestly, infinitely more interesting. Last week, I told you how it's a story that doesn't follow one path, but three. One hero, one showdown, and three completely separate destinies. So how does this even happen? How does one battle in a single game create three alternate realities? Today, we're unravelling what I believe is the most infamous chronological split in gaming history. It all comes down to the legendary struggle between the hero of time and the great king of evil, Ganondorf. The events of Ocarina of Time don't just tell a story, they completely fracture it. Depending on what happens in that final battle, the entire future of Hyrule is changed forever, branching off into three distinct timelines. To really get how these branches came to be, we have to go back, way back, to the very beginning. Long before the hero of time was forward rolling through a field in Hyrule, the world was forged by three golden goddesses. There was Din, the goddess of power, who created the very land. Then came Nehru, the goddess of wisdom, who brought law and order to the world. And finally Furore, the goddess of courage, who created all life. When their work was done, they left behind a sacred, all-powerful relic, which is the fundamental idea of The Legend of Zelda, the Triforce. This artifact could grant the wish of anyone who touched it. To keep this immense power safe, it was given to another goddess, Hylia. Her duty was put to the test when the Demon King, Demise, clawed his way up from the earth to claim the Triforce for himself. The war that broke out was absolutely catastrophic. To protect what was left of humanity, Hylia lifted a chunk of land into the sky, creating the floating island of Skyloft. She and her chosen hero fought and sealed Demise away, but not before the Demon King could issue a curse with his dying breath. His hatred would be reborn for all time, forever locked in a cycle of conflict with the spirit of the hero and the blood of the goddess. And that's the cycle of destiny that defines the entire Zelda series. You've got the reincarnated spirits of the hero Link, the goddess Zelda, and Demise's hatred, Ganon or Ganondorf. This eternal grudge match is the bedrock of Hyrule's history. For ages, the timeline was a single unified thread, weaving through games like Skyward Sword, The Minish Cap, and Four Swords. It was an era of relative peace, but the shadows were gathering. A new conflict was brewing, centred on a Gerudo king with some very dark ambitions. A conflict that wouldn't just define a generation, it would shatter the reality of Zelda itself. This brings us to the absolute turning point in Hyrule's history, Ocarina of Time. Here, a young boy from Kokiri Forest named Link is called upon by the Great Deku Tree to stop a rising threat. He meets Princess Zelda, who's been having prophetic nightmares about a dark man, Ganondorf, the king of the Gerudo, who wants to conquer Hyrule by getting his hands on the Triforce. Their plan? Beat him to it. Link sets off to find the three spiritual stones needed to open the door of time. Inside, he finds the legendary Master Sword, but as a child, he isn't yet ready to be the hero Hyrule needs. The second he draws the blade, his spirit is sealed away for 7 long years inside the sacred realm. In that time, Ganondorf, who had cleverly followed Link, waltzes into the now unprotected sacred realm and grabs the Triforce. But the relic has other plans. It splits into 3 pieces. Ganondorf snags the Triforce of Power. The Triforce of Wisdom goes to Princess Zelda, and the Triforce of Courage finds its way to Link. When Link wakes up 7 years later, he's an adult in a world completely conquered and twisted by Ganondorf's evil. As the legendary hero of time, he has to travel across the desolate version of Hyrule, awakening the 7 sages who have the power to imprison Ganondorf. It would be the final epic showdown where Link would defeat Ganondorf, and it's right here that the timeline splinters forever. 3 possible outcomes spring from this single moment, which creates 3 distinct timelines. The first that I want to talk about, the one that's the most controversial, the one that a lot of people have issues with, is the downfall timeline. This is the one taken where the hero fails, where Link is defeated by Ganondorf. It's very much a hypothetical ending. In this world, Link fails, and Ganondorf successfully unites all 3 pieces of the Triforce, becoming the Demon King. His victory is cut short though when the 7 sages, in a last ditch effort, manage to seal him and the entire Sacred Realm away. This event is known as the Imprisoning War. This single act from the sages saves Hyrule from being totally wiped out, but it comes at a huge cost. The kingdom enters a long period of decline. This timeline is marked by a constant feeling of desperation, a world always on the edge of collapse. It's the setting for a lot of the classic Zelda games. In A Link to the Past, a new hero has to stop Ganon from returning. This is followed by Link's Awakening, the Oracle games, and A Link Between Worlds, with each story showing a Hyrule stuck in a forever war against Ganon's lingering shadow. The Triforce itself becomes a magnet for conflict, constantly drawing evil back into the world. Centuries later, Ganon is brought back to life again, leading to the events of the original The Legend of Zelda, where a young hero named Link must piece back together the shattered Triforce of Wisdom to save the princess. This same hero's journey continues in Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, where he has to stop Ganon's followers from reviving their master using the hero's own blood. The Downfall timeline is a story of Hyrule's incredible resilience, but it's a dark and tragic history, all born from a single moment of failure. It's a world where the legend of the hero of time isn't a story of triumph, but one of despair. Now let's press that rewind button, let's go right back to that end battle, and let's go to a situation where Link has of course defeated Ganondorf. After sealing Ganon away, Princess Zelda makes a huge decision. She gives Link back the childhood that was stolen from him, and using the Ocarina of Time, she sends him back to the moment they first met, 7 years in the past. This act creates the second major timeline, the child timeline. When he arrives back in his own time, Link isn't just a kid anymore. He has all of the memories, the wisdom, and the courage that he gained as his adult self. He immediately runs to the young Princess Zelda and warns her about Ganondorf's treacherous plot before it even gets off the ground. With this inside info, the royal family is able to stop Ganondorf. He's arrested, put on trial, and sentenced to be executed. This timeline completely avoids the apocalypse that we see play out in the adult timeline of Ocarina of Time. But the peace doesn't last. This branch of the timeline digs deep into the personal fallout of Link's journey. His story picks up right away in Majora's Mask, a game dripping with themes of trauma and loss, as Link searches for his lost fairy, Navi, and ends up in the parallel world of Termina, which is facing its own apocalypse. Centuries later, the execution of Ganondorf, which, surprise, failed, ends with him breaking free from his prison in the Twilight Realm, leading straight into the events of Twilight Princess. In this game, a new hero, a descendant of the hero of time, has to face the legacy of Ganondorf's hatred in a Hyrule that never suffered from his 7-year reign of terror. This timeline is all about prevention and legacy. It's a world saved from one terrible fate, only to face new and different forms of darkness born from the echoes of a future that never happened. The story of the branch wraps up in Four Sword Adventures, where reincarnated Ganondorf once again threatens the land. So far, I've told you about the Downfall timeline, and I've told you about the Child timeline. Two totally different worlds, all born from one game. But we've got one more timeline to check out. A future that was left without a hero. And if you're enjoying this video, can I just ask you to please subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Now let me tell you all about the adult timeline. For the third and final branch, we asked the question, what happens if Link beats Ganondorf and then just leaves? When Zelda sent the Hero of Time back to his childhood, the adult version of Link vanishes from that reality, creating the adult timeline. This is a world where Ganon was defeated, but its saviour is gone. For a while, things were peaceful, but if demise is one thing, he's stubborn. Centuries later, Ganon's seal weakens, and he breaks free with no one to stop him. The people of Hyrule prayed for the Hero of Time to come back, but he never did. With no hero to save them, the Golden Goddesses had to step in. They made a devastating choice. To save the land from Ganon's clutches, they had to destroy it. And they unleashed what was known as the Great Flood, sinking the entire kingdom of Hyrule beneath a massive ocean and sealing Ganon and the old world under the waves. This sets the stage for the Wind Waker. The survivors built a new society on the peaks of Hyrule's old mountains, which were now just a bunch of scattered islands on the Great Sea. This timeline is very much about loss and rebirth. It's a world moving on, trying to build a new identity separate from its drowned past. A new young hero, who has no blood connection to the original Hero of Time, has to step up and face the resurrected Ganondorf. The story then continues in Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, where the heroes search for a new continent to establish a new Hyrule, leaving the ghosts of the old one behind. The adult timeline is unique because it's not really about saving Hyrule, it's about surviving its loss and building something new from the wreckage. It's proof that even when the legendary hero is gone, the spirit of courage can pop up in the most unexpected of places. So, there you have it. One game, Ocarina of Time, acts as the seismic event that shatters the history of an entire universe into three distinct timelines. The Downfall timeline, a world of constant struggle born from failure. The Child timeline, a world of averted disaster and lingering trauma born from a hero's return to the past. And the Adult timeline, a world of rebirth and new beginnings, born from a hero's departure. Each branch tells its own unique story, exploring the different ripple effects of a single crucial moment in time. This brings us to the modern era of Zelda, specifically Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. They do not fit in amongst anything that I have spoken about so far. Nintendo have been deliberately cagey about where they fit in the timeline. These games happen so far in the distant future, maybe tens of thousands of years after their games, that the events of all three timelines have faded into myth. There are nods and references to events from all three branches, which has led to a lot of fans to think this new era is a point where the three timelines have finally merged, or it's just that it's so far beyond them that the original split doesn't actually matter. Nintendo's official line is that they want to leave it up to the player's imagination, letting the feeling of a vast ancient history be more important than a strict timeline. The Legend of Zelda's timeline is so much more than a list of games in order. It's a narrative masterpiece that turns the series from a bunch of separate adventures into a sprawling, multi-generational epic. Is it broken? Yes. Does it add so much context to the franchise that I so dearly love? Yes. It shows us that a single story can have many different endings, and that being a hero isn't just about winning one fight. It's about the legacy you leave behind, the future you create, and the new legends that are born from the echoes of the past. One hero's choice, one journey through time, created not one, but 3 different sagas of courage, wisdom, and power. And in a world built on legends, it's only fitting that its history is just as grand and mysterious as the stories themselves. Thank you so much for watching episode 2 of The Legend of Zelda Beyond the Timeline. I really hope that you're enjoying this series and that you're learning something new. If you are, let me know in the comments. What are your thoughts on the timelines? Do you, as a player, maybe have a favourite one? I know for me, I quite like the adult timeline, because Wind Waker for me is one of the best games, but with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, that's where I have the problem of Tears of the Kingdom's history, but that's something we can get into at a later date. This series can continue, and I still have 6 episodes left to show you, and I'm so excited for you to see the rest. So please do subscribe to the channel, please like this video, and please share it with your friends. I would really, really appreciate it. I'll be back next week, of course, with episode 3. Until then, I've been the Zelda Realm, and I'll see you very, very soon.